Thank you to RSF 1090 for their generous donation on Patreon. If you would like to join them in their generosity, the link to my Patreon page is in the description. Hello everyone, and welcome back to All of the Above. I'm Vivian.
And I'm Caleb.
And we're attempting a kind of a return of a thing, because we used to try to do it this way, but kind of back before you had a microphone like this that you have now, recording just from a Discord call was kind of a non-starter.
Yeah.
Got some comments about Robo Caleb. But this time around, we're giving it a good old second try of just recording the Discord call, so hopefully it goes well, and hopefully OBS doesn't shit the bed like it tends to do.
Yeah, and that should be good for the rest of the year. I'm currently the one with priority internet at the moment. So
Ooh, nice.
I've been playing WoW and talking on Discord with no... I feel like it should be able to handle this.
I fucking hope so, because otherwise then it would be me that has the problem, and I'm hooked up Ethernet style, so I would have to make a phone call or something. We are recording this October 28th, 2020. We are, how many days away from the election? Let me see here.
About a week.
Yeah, we're less than a week away from November 3rd. 6 days until Election Day. Did you do early voting, Caleb?
I can. And I have a few polling places open and that I can go do, but I just keep forgetting until... in the back of my brain, I'm just thinking November 3rd, and then I get home and I'm like, oh, I could have done that while I was out and about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as long as you get it done by Election Day, I guess it's fine. I'm just, oh my God, there's going to be so many people. I checked the numbers as of a few days ago. There are as many people voted for either candidate in the last election, the last primary presidential election, mind you. As many people did that. It was about 60 million. That's how many people have already voted and have already had their votes tallied. There's probably more in the mail, and that was as of the 26th. So, and there's still some early voting things getting figured out in some states. There's some the rules being decided in state Supreme Courts and even the federal Supreme Court. So, earlier the better, but yeah, as long as it gets done before November 3rd, I suppose.
And mainly you're just going to miss the lines in most places voting here early.
Oh, yeah. Because, oh, my God. Even some places voting early. I've seen people waiting in line 11 hours or whatever, but that's like the day they opened and shit. So, like,
yeah,
don't go the day early voting starts, and if you're trying to avoid a line. But if you have all day to spare, maybe set aside a day, just bring your mask. Some people bring lawn chairs.
Early morning tomorrow if it's open for you, will probably be the best time.
Yeah.
Who has Thursday morning off?
Well, me, but that, and you and I both, but that's because we're early retired.
Yeah.
But I've already voted. I did it a few weeks ago. I had a small line. I waited maybe 20 minutes. Wasn't that bad for me. But I'm in a state where there are like there's a polling place as frequently as there's like a Starbucks, and there's drop boxes at all of them, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. But there have been some stuff about like mail-in ballots getting delayed in some states. Won't count your mail-in ballot if they receive it after Election Day, even if it's postmarked on Election Day. So if you're trying to not be at a polling place for your vote, You got a mail-in ballot. Maybe find a polling like a drop box. There have been some instances, like two notable instances of a drop box being vandalized, but don't let that discourage you. Two out of who knows how many million drop boxes is not a widespread thing.
Yeah. And
Um,
this was more of a problem when we were kids. Like I remember people talking about it, that
yeah.
people faked drop boxes.
Yeah, yeah. There have been some that are, just blatantly fake, but for people who don't know how to identify a fake Dropbox, they get kind of fucked up about it. And so yeah, I'm sure for everyone, I mean, I'm sick of hearing about it. I'm sure you are too.
Yeah.
Um but this is
That
the
I think that's a lot of the reason people are voting early. They're just like, if I vote early, it's done and I don't have to hear about it anymore.
yeah, get this shit over with, please. It's like we're giving birth and we're at the 90th hour of labor. We're like, get this fucker out of me. I'm so fucking done. I just want to eat
Mhm.
some food and be done with this because we this country's been experiencing some severe labor pains
With
and
this lockdown and everyone home and
yeah, and all
fucking the
the
news just being like
oh yeah.
everything.
Yeah, the news is the fucker that is just in the room to yell push at you. Like,
Hmm.
what the fuck else am I supposed to do? And but yeah, this is the last show we have before the election. Our next show will be recorded the day after election day. Um, I'm personally planning on live streaming on the night of election day, November 3rd. But the important thing to know is that with the influx of mail in ballots and with all of the counting and with all of the likely contentions and all that other stuff, we likely won't know on election day itself who won or at least who will be declared the winner. We don't know. We will likely not know. There have been talks of a blue mirage, a red mirage, there's been everything is crazy. The most important thing though is that you vote, cause is there wouldn't be as much of a concerted effort to get your vote, to stop your vote, to manipulate your vote on every side if they didn't think that your vote mattered. Quite simply, no one puts in that much effort for something that's useless. Um, Go ahead.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Um, there was actually this was really weird, and I'll send you the link and you can post it. It was I was just thumbing through random videos and I saw it was like a Matthew McConaughey interview, and I did not expect the man to be as mature as he
Yeah.
actually is. I
It's like if
don't know. I
Pauly
think
Shore turned out to be a PhD holder.
yeah, and it just surprised me because like his basic thought process was, you vote, we have no matter what who it is, you have to accept it. We got to go on, and and together we can make America a better place by making sure or to vote for things we care about and charities and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. But we have to just kind of accept what happens.
Yeah. I mean, that's I've been watching this show on HBO Max called Race to the White House, and
Mhm.
it's these documentaries about a series of short documentaries about presidential elections. Right up my fucking alley. Love
Oh
that
yeah.
shit. And the one I watched last night was the race between Kennedy and Nixon in 1960. And I won't synopsize the whole thing, but needless to say, on the day of election day, there were a lot of questions about some questionable results. And there were some choice quotes, um, like when Kennedy won Illinois, some reporters were saying that, oh yeah, the graveyards came out in droves for Kennedy because there were names of dead people casting ballots, and there were in one district there were more people voting from that district than actually lived in that district. But when Nixon had the opportunity to contest it, and he would have had some people on his side, he didn't. Nixon did not contest the vote. He had some legitimate arguments he could have made, but he knew that if he had done that, it would have cast a shadow over the entire presidency. It would have cast doubt over the validity of elections, and it would have thrown the whole thing into turmoil. And he knew it was more important to unify behind the winner than it is to try to tear down the person we all need to look to for answers. So, yeah, this is our last opportunity to do so. We didn't discuss that we were going to do this. This just sort of happened.
No, this
But
was a comment that turned into a conversation.
yeah, which tends to happen. But I would certainly say if you have the opportunity to vote early, do so. If you have the opportunity to, if you have a mail-in ballot, put it in a drop box that is a verified drop box, preferably a drop box that is placed near a polling place. If you're scared of going in person because of the virus, which is totally understandable.
Yeah.
But if drop boxes don't seem right for you, if mail-in ballots don't seem right for you, if voting early still doesn't seem right for you, still go vote as much as you can. If you have the opportunity, be prepared for lines, be prepared for anything. Make sure you look into your state's laws for ID regulation. Make sure you know where your polling place is. Make sure you have a ride there, and maybe pack a lunch because there was gonna be a lot of fucking people. Just vote. I'm not telling you who to vote for, at least not here. Not right now. Just vote if you can, and enjoy the ride.
Oh, yeah, because with voting early at this point is really just to avoid the lines of what's going to happen on the 3rd.
Oh, yeah. That's why a lot of people... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I got lucky. My polling place is that church that I passed going to my house.
Yeah. If I had gone on my election day, my polling place would literally be a church that my broken old ass can just walk to. I've got an alley behind my house. Right at the end of that alley is the fucking place. I don't even have to go onto a street to get to my fucking polling place. But I did it while I was out and about elsewhere, but it's totally fine. And yeah, so that's why a lot of people have been talking about a potential red or blue mirage, because statistics are showing that there are more Democrats willing to use early voting or mail-in ballots because they are more concerned, statistically, no absolutes when you're talking statistics, but by and large, more people who consider themselves left-leaning consider the virus to be something to take into consideration in relation to voting. And because of this, there are likely way more people voting for Joe Biden as of right now. But that does not complete the picture. As I said, only about half of as many people who have voted in 2016 overall have voted as of right now. There's still another half to go before we even reach the threshold of what was happening last time. And we're expected to fucking have the biggest voter turnout in 100 years after all is said and done. The right-leaning or Republican candidates statistically consider the virus to be more manageable and less of a problem to consider when going to vote. And also you have to consider more of these people. You have more Republicans or right-leaning people in a older demographic. And so a lot of these people, if they're retired, they have the day off. So they can choose to just go on election day. They can handle the lines. They can handle taking a day and putting it towards that, because if they're retired, they don't need to rush to get back to their job if they're only allowed a 15-minute break. So, and obviously, like I said, this is not a 100%. This is not across the board. There are retired Democrats. There are work-a-day, paycheck-to-paycheck Republicans. But that's why some people, all the polls are garbage at this point. No one knows what the fuck to expect from this. No one has a clue what the fuck is happening. It's unprecedented. There's never been this exact set of circumstances before. So the polls are kind of unreliable, and we just kind of have to do what we can and then see what happens.
Not to
Mhm.
not to mention a shitload of people overseas who aren't even in our election fucking fanning the flames.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, there's already been confirmed reports of foreign actors like Iran and Russia trying to manipulate our election. There's people hacking Among Us to and threatening people if they don't um, vote for Trump. There was that. There was also people who hacked the old website of the white supremacist militia group, the Proud Boys. They hacked their old website because they're in the process of transferring to a new website. They hacked that old IP and were sending emails to people threatening to found publicly available information about these people saying, we know you're a Democrat because we saw it in the database, and we'll fucking get your family if you don't. And this wasn't, I'm not defending white supremacy here, but that was not the Proud Boys doing that. That was someone else.
That a white supremacist group founded by a Canadian married to an Inuit woman and a current black Cuban is pretty sucky at being white supremacist.
Well, see, that's the thing, is a group is not the founder of that group. Like,
That's the current CEO and runner is Cuban and black.
okay, well, a whole group is not one person. I mean,
But they're actually keep track of their members. It's not just a idea.
okay, but still, a whole group, like, there are, like, America, for example, much bigger group, but how many people don't like Trump, but they're still Americans? Like, being part of a group does not mean that you know of or give a shit about the person at the top. There are a lot of people who work for Chick-fil-A that are part of the LGBTQ plus community, but because the CEO has donated to anti-gay organizations, some people consider the whole organization to be anti-gay, when really it's like one guy at the top and there's some franchisees elsewhere. But
That's exactly what I'm saying. Because
yeah,
you just said they were
I know.
they're white supremacists, which would be technically incorrect. Because
Well,
there's
that's
people in there
see that,
that
and when it's part of the group, I'm about to other side this thing.
mm,
As there are people who consider Chick-fil-A an entirely anti-gay place, there are also people who know their local Chick-fil-A. They know the person who has franchised that building. They know the workers there, and they know that the only part of anything religious that is a part of that place is the fact that the company mandates they're not open on Sunday. But that's the thing. So there are different people within groups, but there are rules of the group. And one of the tenets of that group, the Proud Boys, is the facet of white supremacy. That's not all they are, but it is a part of the group. But as there is people in the group, there will never be a 100% absolute. You know me. I can't fucking anytime that I even think that I'm about to say that something is 100% when it comes to people, I have to immediately say that's not true, because there will never be a 100% in any group. But when you have a group that is founded around a certain amount of principles that are a part of the group, there will be a majority of people in that group that ascribe to that philosophy. There will be differences. There will be people who are less passionate about it. There will be people who are not even a part of that particular sect of the ideology. But it would be unwise to say that just because there are different denominations of Christianity, that there isn't a hell of a lot of unifying factors when it comes to belief in the Ten Commandments or the validity of Jesus or the Bible's validity. But there are differences in opinion in degrees of all those things, and there's a lot of differing opinions about other things. But the unifying factors is what makes it part of a group. Do you see what I mean?
No, not really.
Do you want me to try to go further into explaining it, or do you want to just kind of move on?
Yeah, we can just kind of move on.
Okay.
It's not like this is what we were talking about anyway, so.
Nah, like we came here to discuss something way less, uh, way less charged and way less political. Um, the sentiment of the first part was just to say vote if you can, but
Elections coming up, vote.
yeah,
And check what else you're voting for. Like,
yes,
apparently I'm voting for, like, whether restaurants can sell just alcohol.
nice. Yeah,
Like, that's just something else on my ballot that no one told me about until I
yeah.
looked up where I'm voting.
Exactly. Yeah, local, and we've stressed this before in past conversations. Your local elections are the ones that are going to impact your life the most. Your local representatives, local ordinances, those are the things that are voted on way more than every 4 years, and those are the things that are more apt to affect your everyday life. So pay attention to them, look into them, be informed, and vote.
What was it? I found there was like a rap song posted by like I'd say he's lower top tier, and it was basically just a rap song about stop. Y'all are caring about the executive branch, but it's the legislative branch we need to pay attention to.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I mean, that's why you have people who have been in Congress for fucking 30 years plus, is because like at so many things are different between 2020 and 1990, which by the way was 30 years ago.
Hmm.
The world has changed so much that if you have the same person in power for that long, if we had a president serving for 30 years, or if we looked at a country that had the same leader for 30 years, would you not automatically feel like, oh, maybe there's
A
something
little
amiss
out of
there?
touch, like
Yeah, there's a little
he ain't hip with it
disconnected.
no more.
Yeah, you've been living in the capital city for 30 years. At what point do you stop representing the people that that are electing you? Like that's why I fucking believe in term limits for Congress people so hard, man.
That okay, this is really off topic, but I thought it was hilarious
What's up?
because just who said it? It was a Wolf Blitzer calling out Pelosi, and I was like, CNN called out Pelosi on not being connected anymore.
Yeah.
Like, there's a fucking like what moment?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like when I heard it's like when I heard fucking oh, it was the first debate. It was moderated by a guy who works at Fox, and then after the shit show that was the first debate, he got on his show on Fox and was like he was trashing
That was
Trump.
garbage. That was a
Yeah.
garbage fire. I remember
Oh.
that was
Oh, it was
oh.
so bad. But it's so weird. We these organizations, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all these places, they have obvious biases. They aren't even trying to pretend they don't. But then you hear them criticizing their own side, and you're like, wait a minute, what?
Whose team are you on again?
Yeah. It's weird. It's so fucking weird. But anyway, we've been almost 25 minutes on this now.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
did
we
not.
can. That's the only thing I remember those two clips, and I just thought it was hilarious.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's so fucking. What we actually came here to talk about, um, it, it's a nice simple discussion about a pleasant thing. We all love shows. You and
All
me.
pleasant until one of us says one of the shows, and we're like, "Motherfucker, fuck you and that show."
we spend 25 minutes on politics where we keep either a straight face or tight-lipped, and then you're like, you like Happy Days? You're not my friend anymore.
How do I hang up angrily on Discord?
God, that's what I miss most about flip phones. Being able to just,
Yeah.
oh, fuck you, click, fucking flap the whole thing in half.
Fucking the wireless phone, just to slam it back on the ringer.
Yeah, oh yeah, like fucking the old fucking corded phone, and you'd be like, go fuck yourself, slam, and you could hear it because the plastic on plastic slam would go through the wire right before the call would click. And I love obsolete technology.
Just to let people know how pissed you are.
Yeah.
That just eerie silence just doesn't do it anymore.
Exactly. It's like, go fuck you. Like, and then that's it. Like, ugh. But you and I are different, come from different backgrounds when it comes to television, but we do have some similar tastes.
This is true.
Yeah, because we, there are some eras that we happen to coincide with, but by and large, when it came to availability when we were growing up, it seems that when one of us had better options, the other one had worse options, and then it would shift in the complete opposite direction. And then that,
like, until the internet became like needed in houses, I was with you on the fucking just basic 10 whatever you get from the cord that comes out of the wall.
oh yeah, the rabbit ears on the top of your TV dictated what the fuck you watched that day, and that was it.
Yeah.
I had a satellite dish for like a year, and then we kept the dish but lost the service, so it just was sitting outside doing nothing. And then, like you said, when the internet came in and streaming services happened, a lot more things were accessible, and it really kind of opened up opportunities. But the reason we're talking about TV now is that a couple weeks ago we discussed it, and we wanted to basically run down our top 10 favorite shows. And this includes animation. It includes streaming service exclusive stuff if it never even aired on TV, as long as it's a show. 40 minutes, 5 minutes, episodic content that counts. Caleb and I,
no movies and no specials. That's the only thing.
Exactly. No specials, no TV. No.
I couldn't be on here and be like, the last episode of MASH, that 2 hour long.
Yeah.
Motherfucker. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's no. So no movies, no specials. Show yeah, we've separately compiled our top 10 favorite shows. Do you want to alternate going back and forth, Caleb?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and these
Mine's
are ranked.
not in any particular order.
Oh, okay. I ranked mine.
If you want to discuss with me and help me rank mine, I am all for that.
I would definitely be interested in that. So I ranked mine. I actually went to 15 because, God, it was fucking hard, man. When you get down to that last couple, it's always the fucking hardest. Like, when you and I were doing the, like, Mount Rushmores of various video game companies, the first 3, so easy. That 4th one was a bastard.
Because the last one is like, you're just capping in the last of it. That's it. None of those other ones you were thinking about can make it in.
Yeah. And it's weird, but yeah, because you're like, it's that 4th option versus all the other potential 4th options. But the first 3 options are just like, oh, they're already on the mountain. You can't take them off the mountain. They're already carved in. Like, you don't even consider all the other ones versus the first 3.
Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah. So let's go ahead and start with you. What is your Number 10, yours is not ranked, but yeah, your
Yeah.
10th, your 10th favorite show of all time.
Cowboy Bebop.
Ooh, very
Hmm.
nice.
I grew up with it as a kid. I loved Spike. Like, I remember most of it except the ending, and I keep it that way so I can rewatch it whenever I feel like it.
Nice.
Um, it was just a really good show, and I had Toonami at that point, so it was still before streaming, so I still had the like go to school and we'd all talk about it experience.
Aw, nice. I do miss those, like, did you catch that episode last night conversations.
Hmm.
Nice. That is a show that has been on my watch list for a while. I definitely want to get to that.
And I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I feel like Cowboy Bebop is one of the few shows everyone will agree with that it is English. English is the language you have to get watch it in.
Even the creator, even the original creator of Cowboy Bebop said that, like, um when he was listening to the English auditions and heard the English voice for Spike, he was like, that's what he was supposed to sound like. Very nice. Very fucking
Mm.
good. Liked it. Um my number 10 now?
Yeah.
My number 10 is uh keeping the theme of going foreign. Yeah, I'm going all
Mm.
the way to the strange exotic lands of Canada. Uh for my number 10 favorite show of all time, Corner Gas. Uh
A good show.
yeah, I really love Corner Gas. For those who don't know, it is a show about a very small town in Saskatchewan, Canada, centered around the lives of an ensemble cast, and the show is about living in a very small town and some of the crazy stupidity that comes along with that. Um, it is a go-to feel-good show for me. I watch it pretty much anytime I have to do dishes. Um, not for any. It's not like a show about dishwashing. I don't really know, but it helps me kind of feel good about what I'm doing, because when you're doing a mundane task, it's nice to have something you can kind of enjoy alongside it. Um, it recently got a. I say recently, they're on like their third season now, but it recently got an animated reboot with the original cast, barring one cast member who had died. I haven't seen that, but I'm interested in it. I want to. I just don't currently have the ability.
Yeah. I saw that and um like un kind of unpopular opinion. And I am afraid because of the current climate of adult animation at the moment.
Yeah,
Like it all seems to be the same type of jokes and humor.
yeah. That's something that I was worried about too. I gotta say, I'm not the biggest fan of the animation style on that. I haven't seen it in full action. I've just seen clips. Um, but I can honestly say that the the shading and the artwork in hand drawn shows, it always seems to be better than computer generated animation when it comes to serialized content.
Mm.
Like, there are obviously some goofy looking shit when it comes to hand drawn cartoons in a serialized format because it takes a lot longer to do. But like,
How look at any show, any anime from the 80s.
yeah. But there is a charm to that. There is a charm to it. And when you can see in the animation someone taking hours to shade something in that's only on screen for a couple seconds, it feels good. But then you get modern animation, which is like, it feels like it's all flat on some
Mm.
shows. Not all shows, obviously, but on some shows, it's all flat. It's all very bright. It's all very clean lines, and um, I don't know.
It's like it has the same problem that old anime where it was recycled
Mm-hmm.
stuff, but it
Yeah,
doesn't need to be recycled, and it's just not you're not as gonna get as forgiven for.
yeah, and yeah, it's rough. It's like I don't care much for the Disney movie Aladdin, but I can honestly say movies like Aladdin and Mulan, which I also don't care for, those movies animated almost 30 years ago look better than some modern 2D animated movies, which are hard to find modern 2D
Mm,
animated movies. Um, but yeah, it's you really can only like oh my god I Big Mouth needs to stop existing. The Netflix show Big Mouth is one of the ugliest fucking shows I've ever seen. Every time I hear, because Brie fucking loves the show and I don't know why, but every time I catch whatever the fuck's going on in the corner of my eye, I am repulsed. Whenever I hear what's going on in a thing, it just sounds like they're shouting obscenities and gross shit at the screen and saying laugh. And I think any show that animates children's genitalia should not fucking be on a streaming service that is accessible to everyone. I'm tempted to say it shouldn't exist. So yeah, I'm Big Mouth needs to fucking stop existing, and people who think that family in shows that seem to think Family Guy doesn't go far enough, or people or shows that look to South Park and don't get why people love it. They just think, "Oh, we can do that. Well, we can have kids saying obscenities if that's what people like."
if that's what you find funny, we can be that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my
I'm gonna
fucking god.
I'm gonna share something with you because you definitely missed this show, but this show was syndicated. I'm just gonna let you know that.
Mm.
And this, I get that same feeling you were talking about when this came on, when we were, I think, middle school into high school.
I don't know.
It's sending. um,
Oh, you're sending me something. Okay.
yeah, it's gonna pop up on our chat log here in a second.
Okay. Oh, what the fuck is that? Secret
Yeah.
Mountain Fort Awesome blows up. Cartoon Network aired that?
Yep.
Oh,
For like 4 years.
what the fuck?
And it honestly has little to no plot too. It was just them dicking around in day to day.
Good God. I'd rather watch We Bear Bears than whatever the hell that is. At least I know We Bear Bears will be cute if not interesting. But good, yeah, I had to scroll up. I can't look at that anymore. Um. So yeah, let's move on to good shows. What's your number 9, man?
Hold on. I'm going to delete that so it's not there.
Thank
Because
you.
I also don't like looking at it, but
Ugh. Good
I just
Christ.
that explanation you gave for Big Mouth is exactly what I felt watching that show.
Well, good to know what to avoid.
Hmm. All right. This one I get a lot of hate for. Not anymore, but One Piece.
Oh, okay.
Just the sheer volume makes people hate it so much. But then y'all will complain that your show's only 12 episodes. This is 900 strong and
Oh,
still has 5 years, is what the creator said.
oh God. Oh, my water tried to go in my nose. Ugh.
Uh,
Yeah, One Piece.
no, this one again, kind of like Cowboy Bebop, but not as. I can't even say not as like. I was about to say One Piece was a little more kid friendly, but that is also not true. Um, but it's just been a staple in my like. This show came out when I was 5,
Yeah, and
and
it's
is
still
still
going.
airing new episodes.
Yeah.
It is a staple in my life, and I really don't know what my emotional like now what is gonna be when it ends.
Oh yeah, I can only fucking imagine. Like the closest thing I have is imagining what it's like for people who grew up watching The Undertaker, because The Undertaker's
Mm,
been wrestling for 30 years and I've only been watching him since 2014, and now I'm still like, fuck, he's gone. What am I going to do? But that's only 6 years. I don't have 25 or 20. So I don't hate One Piece for its longevity, but it is a contributing factor as to why I'm very hesitant to try to watch it, because I can't. It's a
it is
lot.
a lot.
Yeah. I admire it for being for going that long, because from what I've heard, they don't just repeat shit. They
No.
build on it. And if you've been building on stuff for 900 plus episodes, then when you take a look back and you examine all the ground that's been covered, I can only imagine how rich and expansive and amazing that world must feel to people who have lived their lives experiencing it being explored.
Hell, this is one thing anyone who's watched it long enough and hasn't realized when in gonna say his name wrong because I can't fucking remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Hawkeye. I I'll look up what it is and I'll apologize later.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he is a long-standing nemesis to one of the main characters, and he shows up in like the fourth or fifth arc, and he has a power that he uses that is not introduced into the show for another 10 arcs.
Jesus.
And if you go back and watch his fight, you can, knowing what the power is, you can see him use it, and you know exactly how it works. But at the time, you have no idea how he's doing any of the things he's doing.
Wow. So that really just proves that they've been planning ahead for 10 arcs. Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
That is a hell of a lot of planning. Good Lord.
But for anyone wanting to get into it, but like Viv here is put off by the length, I'll suggest what I do for everyone new. Just watch it arc by arc. Like, finish an arc, take a break, watch whatever you want, and then come back at the next arc and just watch it like it's seasons or
Mm-hmm.
coming in small bite-sized pieces, so
Yeah.
it's not as overwhelming.
The denomination effect.
Mm.
That's something that's helped me with trying to get into like comics, because I really like different comics and I want to read up on all the latest advancements, but fuck, if you want to start with comics, Action 52 came out a long goddamn time ago. That's all I'm fucking saying.
Yeah. I think they're revamping DC here next year, so that might be a good time to jump into DC comics.
Good to know. Um so yeah, that very good, very respectable choice for your number 9. Again, yours are not ranked, but mine are. Just not saying that either one is better. I'm just
Yeah.
for the distinction. Um, my number 9 is a show that almost lost its place on the list, and obviously these on a ranked list, pretty much as soon as you make it, is the risk of being obsolete. So
Yeah.
these are all even yours, because even though it's not ranked, you might realize later on, you'd be like, oh, how did I not think of that show? I love that show. And then fuck, one of them's got to go. um or whatever. But so this show,
No,
go ahead.
I understand. I literally, well, when you said 15, I was like, oh wow, yeah, I really didn't think about that, and like two other shows popped in my head, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh fuck, how did I forget about them?
Yeah. I guess if you want to say what they are, we can do an honorable mentions, no explanation, just saying the names.
Honorable mention.
Hmm.
All right, it's let me look. It is technically three:
Okay.
Boondocks, Scrubs, and Futurama.
Oh man, those are three heavy hitters, man.
Mm-hmm.
My honorable mentions are JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Whose Line Is It Anyway, The Disastrous Life of Psyche K, One Punch Man, and WKRP in Cincinnati.
I have no idea what that last one is, but
It's not an anime, I'll tell you that much. It is not an anime. It is a 70s sitcom based in a radio station. But like I said, no explanations. Those are just the honorable mentions. My number 9. My number 9 is a show that uh is likely going to be off the list. It's Penn and Teller's bullshit. I
forgot about that show.
right? Like I love the show. I've been watching it for as long as I can remember. I do not remember when I started watching it. The problem I'm having with this show is I feel like my political ideology has shifted so much that once you've seen a show that only has a certain amount of episodes, I think it only has like 6 seasons or something.
Mm.
You've been watching it for so long. There's only so many times you can rewatch documentaries, because that's essentially what it is. It's a series of small documentaries that are made with intentional overt bias and comedy, and that's fine.
Yeah.
They know it, they accept it, but there's no narrative to make you want to experience again. Um, and what I found is when I was younger, I used to kind of take political views at face value. Like, people would just sort of say something is true, and I'd be like, well, I guess that makes sense. And I didn't do what you should do, which is question things, figure out why the person's saying it, figure out all the details, do independent research, and come to your own conclusions. I didn't start doing that until later in life. And that's not me saying that they're wrong on some of their conclusions, but that is me saying that whenever I go to watch it, there are certain episodes I'll watch because I remember them being really funny, or certain episodes I'll watch because I remember them really making good points, or certain episodes I genuinely forget what their argument is. They did a whole half an episode on bottled water, for fuck's sake. But more and more, I'm looking through the episode list and thinking, wow, I just really disagree with this. And the thing is, the show is old, so a lot of their
Hmm.
information is now outdated.
Oh, they might not even agree with
Yeah,
half the things they're talking about now.
exactly. And so when it's a show about opinion, and opinions change over time, there's only so long that a certain joke or a certain gag can hold your interest.
Hmm.
So this show is at risk of dropping off the list in not that far distant future, but for the time being, I can't deny that this show has been entertaining me and educating me for a long time, and I just didn't feel right to leave it off the list. Getting emotional. No, it's fuck. I've got lemonade flavoring in my water, so that's just sort of hanging out at the base of my nose.
Oh yeah, the lemonade flavoring is like weirdly harsh, no matter where you get it from. Like
Right?
it sticks to the back of your throat.
Yeah. We're gonna need to speed these up if we're gonna get this episode under 3 hours.
Okay.
That's me telling me
And,
mostly, because I'm the long-winded one here. But what's your
uh,
number 8?
number 8 is regular show.
Ooh,
I
okay.
did not give this show a chance when it first started airing. I will own up to that. I saw the ads for it and thought it was stupid,
Mm-hmm.
but I came back to it because one of my cousins he really loved like the Adventure Time regular show and not Steven Universe. What was it?
Gumball?
Was Gumball, and I was like, he's pretty cool. I'll give it another shot, and I watched it with him, and I had to rewatch the entire show. It's out there. It's funny, but it's still like it made me cry. Like I'm not gonna lie, the ending made me cry
Wow.
because I sat through it and it was the only thing I watched because I kind of binged it. Like I would take breaks for a day or two, but I wouldn't really be watching anything. But the only serial I watched, and just having all of the information that happened with the ending made me tear up and cry.
Wow. I that I recently added Gumball to my watch list. I'll have to do the same for regular show because, like you said, the advertisements made it look fucking stupid. But I got to remember, most advertisements are made by people who don't get to watch the full show. They're made by some
Or
marketing fuck
yeah,
that,
we're given a synopsis and the name. Like that's all.
yeah. Sometimes not even that. Sometimes they're just
Mm.
given the name and some clips.
I can't imagine how hard that would be with the show literally named Regular Show.
Exactly. Oh man. All right, number 8 for me. Let me pull it in 2009. Regular show came out in 2009. Jesus.
11 years.
Jesus. It feels like it was like airing yesterday. Number 8 for me is The Vicar of Dibley. That might sound like gargle mesh to to most people. The vicar is basically the preacher or priest of the Church of England, and Dibley is the town that the show takes place in. It's another kind of small town show, but it's based in Britain, and it's got an extreme amount of heart and comedy. It's got that British dry humor, but also small town kind of absurdist humor. And I'm not religious, but this show represents Christianity so heartwarmingly. Like it doesn't use it as a gag, it doesn't use it as a theme. They use it as a part of the soul of the show. And it's criminally short, but absolutely love it. And it addresses a surprising amount of social issues considering the setting is a small town. I mean, hell, the Vicar of Dibley, the literal vicar, is a woman. And at that time, that was a kind of taboo thing. So, yeah, absolutely love the show. It's on BritBox if you got it. Give it a shot.
Kind of
Number
reminds
7.
me.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Kind of reminds me of Father Ted, but Father Ted took itself way less seriously. Another good one, Irish humor, but
Well, I
it's
mean,
on Prime.
you remember I don't remember which Harry Potter. I think it was Goblet of Fire. The lady in the lady in the door to the Gryffindor room when she's like singing trying to break the glass.
Yeah,
That is the actress that plays the Vicar of Dibley.
really.
Yeah, that is the Vicar of Dibley, Dawn French. So if that gives you any indication of the kind of humor you're dealing with, that's the funny. But anyway, number 7 for you.
7. My phone turned off. There we go. It is. This one was also kind of hard because I'm not a big fan of reboots, and it technically got 2.
Oh.
The Clone Wars.
Oh, which one?
That was another one I had to decide was the 2003 versus the new one.
Yeah. 2D
The
versus
newer
3D.
one.
Oh, really? The 3D
Mhm.
one.
Yep.
Wow. Damn.
Yep. I I really love some of the characters in the 2003, and how they portrayed the villains was much better. But um, like it made me actually care about the characters that were in the um, prequel trilogy,
Yeah.
because it flushed out a lot of those movies. And anyone who watches, like, I don't really shit on them anymore now that I learned that that the whole Star Wars thing was supposed to be written as an opera. And then I actually had to learn about operas, and I was like, ah, no wonder the prequel trilogy is a lot of talking. That's just operas in general.
Yeah.
It's a lot of exposition and emotions.
Yeah.
But it flushes it out. It makes you care about these characters. Um, I liked the second to last season, and I am. It really feels like the last season was written because money and to get head pats from Twitter. Like that's what it felt like to me.
Oof.
Yeah, but it's still a good show, and I would recommend it to anyone, even casually into Star Wars.
Sweet. Yeah, I remember I watched the Clone Wars movie as part of my 7 days of Star Wars thing leading up to watching The Force Awakens, and um, I felt like, yeah, it was actually pretty good. I think animation is a really good platform for science fiction.
Mm,
Yeah.
a lot cheaper to
Yeah. They're
stage.
trying to make a Twi'lek look fucking practical. Like Jesus.
Yeah,
My number 7 is a show called Gallivant.
I love Gallivant.
Oh my god. Gallivant, for those who don't know, it's like if Monty Python and the Holy Grail had a baby with Robin Hood Men in Tights from Mel Brooks. It is so fun. It's silly. It's got musicals. Weird Al has a cameo. The characters are various shades of kind of shit, but also likable. Not kind of shit, kind of shitty. You know, they're kind of jerks, but fuck, it's
Dude,
just. And I didn't realize that the guy who plays Gallivant is the guy who plays like Lucifer in that show. And that's why there wasn't a third season, because everyone was just sort of busy. Like they're all open to it to making a third season, but they're all just sort of fucking busy right now.
mm,
But oh my god, it's so funny. It's oddly heartfelt at times. Um and I think I liked the first season more than the second, but both were still good. And it's on Netflix. Watch it if you can, and if that sounds up your alley.
okay, I'm gonna pull this one down a little bit just because it somewhat connects.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Psych. The A lot of the reasons I watched Gallivant was because the actor who played Lassie is the prince on Gallivant.
Whoa, really?
Is the Yeah, he's the whiny prince, and I still can't. I try to remember his name, but it always is from Psych. But I do love him, and he did lead me into watching that show. So,
Nice.
but Psych, it's one of my favorite shows growing up. It's a fun, semi can get serious detective show, drama, comedy, whatever you really want to call it. It dips into all three.
Mm-hmm.
But love it. I still watch it every now and again. And if you have Peacock, they just released a new movie for it.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna watch that later this week because my sister has Peacock and gave us the login.
Nice. My number 6. I've never seen Psych. I don't have anything to add. I'm sorry. Um,
Oh, you're fine.
my number 6 is another British show. It is Red Dwarf. Red Dwarf is a science fiction comedy show that came about after Doctor Who left and kind of filled the void a little bit. But it doesn't take itself nearly as seriously as Doctor Who. It is way more about the laughs than it is about the lore, and it's just a fucking barrel of laughs. It gets really creative with some of its premises. And it's still going. It's still going to this day. Like they've had a number of like hiatuses, but
You kind of have to.
oh
Like,
yeah. But the same actors have been doing it since the 90s are there in they just finished this year they came out with a movie um and it's all on BritBox again. Absolutely love the show. Um, there are certain seasons that are not as good, but there are the early seasons and some of the later episodes. The middle ground is kind of but god damn it, I fucking love the creative aspect and of some of the early stuff, and it's just really fun. Really like it. Red Dwarf, my number 6.
it's a good show. Kyle introduced it to me, weirdly enough.
Really?
Yeah, he introduced it to me along with Andromeda.
Okay, that is a weird combination. Like they're both in the science fiction, but like Red Dwarf and Andromeda are not the same.
Yeah.
Which is funny. I've been collecting alternate dimension versions of Kyle in fiction, and Rimmer is one of my alternate dimension Kyles.
This one, it's not on my list. I wish it was, but it would be a honorable mention.
Mm-hmm.
But to add to that, even just look up clips. 10K from Nation Z is also a pretty
good candidate for an alternate dimension Kyle.
Yeah, literally names himself that because that's his goal. He was like, "But why are you named 10K? Because that's how many zombies I want to kill before I die."
Jesus, yeah, that's Kyle.
And then it was like, "What are you gonna do when you hit 10K?" And he's like, "I don't know. I always like the name Tim."
Oh Christ! What's your number 5, Caleb?
All right, my number 5, and this one I know gets a lot of hate, but I still find it funny. Drawn Together.
Oh man, I love that show.
Yeah. There's so much that could get the show not aired ever.
Oh yeah, I've only seen I think the first season because that's all that was ever released on DVD. But fuck man, that is a
you
go ahead.
you can get all 5 seasons and the movie for like $20 now.
Damn.
I currently own it because I have a feeling that it will never be not censored.
Yeah, you gotta
without
hold on
owning
to that.
it.
Yeah.
But for those of you who don't know, it is a parody of the Big Brother house, and every character on it is a parody of a popular icon, internet meme, whatever. Superman,
Character.
yeah, Superman, Disney princesses, the mystery solving team,
Pikachu,
SpongeBob, Pikachu,
Porky Pig,
yeah,
Link from The Legend of Zelda.
and just imagine whatever offensive humor you can think of aired.
Oh yeah, it holds nothing back.
The whole point of the movie, which I thought was hilarious, is because they made this the point of the movie, was telling people that they were lucky to get 4 seasons. so not to push it. And they were apparently told they could run like South Park as long as they had like a message at the end. This was when South Park had their whole like, well, what do you learn today, Kyle?
Yeah.
And they were like, no, that makes the jokes not as funny if there's meaning behind the jokes. Literally everything they do is just because they thought it was funny. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And even listening to the commentary is just, a lot of it is just like, well, we didn't know what to do next, so.
Oh man, I don't know if you can stream it anywhere, but I gotta see it.
No.
I re
Yeah, they censor it wherever it's streamed, I know that.
Oh, then
And the DVDs are not censored. And by the way, everything that has a censor bar on it is actually drawn.
Yeah.
So like Jew producers dick is actually a mic. Like learn that watching the show.
Well, Caleb,
And
if you're looking
before
for
you ask, yes, that is his actual name, is what he's credited as. Is
Yeah.
Jew producer.
Caleb, I'm just saying if you got Christmas, give me that for
Yeah.
Christmas, please.
Okay. I can do that. I can definitely do that.
Thank you. Uh, oh, great fucking selection there, man. Oh, taking this in a different direction. My number 5 pick is Hunter x Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
If you consider the honorable mentions, this is not the first anime on the list, but it won't be the last. But Hunter x Hunter, it's a long show, not as long as One Piece, mind you, but it's a long show. You also got to take it arc by arc. That's how it was written. It was very much written. It's written by the person who made Yu Yu Hakusho, and whereas Yu Yu Hakusho was very focused on, what is going on moving forward prior planning, Hunter x Hunter was written because the writer was like, "Oh, that'd be a fun idea." And then they do it, and then they stop doing it once it's done. They don't extend it, they don't bring it back, they don't serialize it. They do what works, and then they leave it alone until they get inspiration again, sometimes for years. And then they'll be like, hey, that's a good idea. And then they'll come back and they'll fucking do it. Because doing Yu Yu Hakusho burned them out so much that they had to end the show because they were burned out, and they didn't want to do that again. So,
and to be fair, Yu Yu Hakusho is great, but Hunter x Hunter has the staying power they wish Yu Yu Hakusho had.
Oh, definitely. And oh my Christ, I fucking Gon and Killer are one of my OTPs. They grew up to be married in my fictional world. But no,
You can find the fanfics linked down below.
No, I can't even rely on fanfics because in the show they are kids, and I refuse to. Like, I think they have a really good relationship, based on just like, even in the actual canon, they love each other platonically as like friends. It's really just the power of friendship. But if you give that to the internet, you're going to get artists who are like, oh, I aged them up, but I kept the appearance the same to stay true to the show. And no, that's no. You can't.
No one is just friends on the internet.
Exactly. So I can't. I can't do that. Like, I cannot in good conscience recommend Hunter x Hunter fan fiction or even look it up myself, because that is a rabbit hole that will land you on a list. That'll land, you won't be able to fly to Canada anymore if you're on that list. But no, outside of that, the show is absolutely great. There are some arcs that are way more based in fun and lightheartedness, and there are some arcs that are just a fucking emotional slog, and it's like, oh, you like this fucking character? Yeah, fuck you, that character! Yeah, fuck you! And, oh, you think this is gonna go well? Then fuck you and your hopes! You fucking suffer and you like it. Like, and there's no consistency on the length either. There are some arcs that are like 3 episodes, and there are some arcs that are like 50, and it's ridiculous. The tonal, if you consider the show as a whole, the tonal shifts will turn you off. But if you take it like Caleb recommends for One Piece, if you take the show arc by arc, all of them are great, and they are never betraying of the characters, which is easily could have happened in a show that takes so many breaks or explores so many different ideas. But the attention to character detail is phenomenal, and I can only hope that that it gets continued in the manga. There's stuff in the manga that never made it to animation. I hope it gets continued in the way that it's been produced, which is when it's good, I'll do it. I wouldn't want it to ever be continued just because we want more. So, yeah, Hunter x Hunter. Yay.
Like that punctuation there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my next one is it's getting a reboot, which I'm glad for. Like, again, reboots I'm not super okay with.
Yeah.
Because you'll never super reconnect with, like, even if it's the same writing staff, time has passed, people's comedy has changed, and
Oh yeah.
writing styles.
It will always be a different thing no matter what you do.
Yeah. But to get to the point, it ran for a season, and it is now getting they are now rebooting it. Clone High.
Oh, really?
Yes. It was one of those, like, it came on when I was not supposed to be watching this channel. It's fun, and it really does make, like, it makes fun of the, like, we're obviously not all teenagers, but are teenagers in a high school motif,
Yeah.
given they're all characters that would be 100+ years old.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times they do answer the questions on, like, why do they act different? And it's like, because we grew up with these expectations to be like these people, but we're not these people. Um, it only had one season because India did not like the fact that Gandhi buckled under the pressure and became a party boy because, like I said, he buckled under the pressure of being one of the greatest peace keepers, talkers, whatever you want to call.
Yeah.
Protesters. Trying to think of a good word for him.
You've said a lot of good words. We can.
They didn't like that and protested the show, and it got canceled. So they're just rebooting it without Gandhi.
Jeez.
Man.
Man.
But it's a fun show. You can literally watch it in like an hour, like maybe 4. But it's definitely worth an afternoon
Cool.
if you got it.
Very nice. My number 4 is The Golden Girls. This show might be moving up because I've been watching a lot of The Golden Girls lately, but I absolutely love it. It's an iconic show. It broke down so many barriers. It addressed so many social issues while being a good, genuinely funny, touching, interesting show, while also being constrained to being a sitcom. And man, it was so much before its time that, like, even here recently there have been resurgences of people who haven't even seen the show who will find clips or something like that and will be touched by the message behind it, or they'll laugh at the jokes. In 2020 they'll go back to a show that aired at the end of the 80s and it ended at the very beginning of the 90s, and people are still finding it, still reconnecting with it, and it's such a simple premise. Four older women living in a house in Miami, and then they do so much with it. There's 7 seasons. There's a secret 8th season that is called The Golden Palace that is missing one of the actors, arguably the main character. Not as good, but War Machine's in it, so that's fun. Don Cheadle.
Mm.
Also, Cheech from Cheech and Chong is in the Golden Palace. I don't know why or how the fuck.
It was the
but
90s. Cheech Marin got around. We stopped asking.
yeah, it's The Golden Girls is a phenomenal show, and I absolutely love it.
I can't, like, there's no even, like, comment to say, no, like, I haven't even watched it, and I know who the characters are and
Yeah,
basic premise, and I have not watched episode any, like, a
yeah,
full episode, and I could tell you what basically
yeah.
these characters are.
Yeah, it's so ingrained in society. Like we have a clue. We have a game of Clue that is the Golden Girls themed. Like it's on Hulu. If you haven't watched it, please do. Bree is trying to tell me something. What's going on?
Are you giving him like half a can of wet dog food?
No.
Okay, because a couple of times I've done the dog food, and then after you feed him the next day, the can's gone.
Yeah, I don't give him half a can. That'd be way too much.
Okay. Maybe I'm just misremembering.
Oh. Anyway, Caleb, what is your number 3 favorite show of all time?
It would have to be, like, here's the thing. While we are talking, I've been, like, somewhat adding and subtracting things.
Uh-huh.
So, this is currently a debate in my brain on, so I'll give both. Fuck it.
Okay. Yeah.
This is our show. We can do whatever we want.
Damn straight.
The tie for this is Family Matters.
Ooh.
Is because I love that. That was my fuck Full House. Family Matters was my sitcom growing up. And Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Wow.
Don't match.
That is,
at all.
I can see why that would be a hard choice to make, because how the hell do you compare those two?
The themes about family, I guess.
Yeah. It's a bit like comparing a cake to spaghetti, because they're both contain wheat.
But Family Matters, I grew up with it. I found it funny. I still find it funny. Like, just like you and Golden Girls, we'll go back and watch Family Matters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's on a streaming service because I sail out to deep waters for most of my. But Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I started watching the first one, Full Metal Alchemist, in high school. Well, in college, I was recommended it, and I loved it so much. There's a lot of heart. There's a lot of feeling. The action is tight and fluid, and my God.
Brotherhood's the one to watch, right?
Yes, Brotherhood's follows the manga. Alchemist came out a little before the manga, so they had to make up some parts. But Brotherhood is a straight adaptation.
Okay. Good.
So you will essentially watch the same show for a season, but they are different.
All right. My number 3 favorite show of all time is MASH. Former number 1 favorite show of all time. Now it has moved to number 3. Now that we have done this exercise of actually trying to put it all down. MASH, an older sitcom. It's on Hulu. It when you hear the setting, it's based in a mobile army surgical hospital. That's what MASH stands for. During the Korean War. Somehow, there's comedy there. And a lot of the show's plots are based on things that actually happened. Like, they interviewed soldiers from Korea, and there were people on the cast and crew that were in Korea. And important thing to note about MASH is the show is an adaptation and continuation of the movie, which itself is an adaptation of a book. So if you are a fan of the book and you skip the movie and go straight to the show, there's going to be some differences. There's going to be a lot of differences. Apparently, the writer of the book was not a fan of Alan Alda's portrayal of the main character Hawkeye, because Alan Alda's Hawkeye was a social progressive, whereas in the book, Hawkeye is a conservative. And it's weird to imagine that, because I've never read the book, nor have I seen the movie, so I've only seen the show. So it's hard to imagine any of the other characters. And there's only one actor that actually went from the movie to the show, and that was Radar, because who the hell else can play Radar? But this is another show that is so ingrained in society that you say MASH and most people have at least heard of it. The finale, as we joked about earlier, is a 2-hour movie, essentially, that was and still is the single most watched TV episode. Not the most watched television event, because that has been beaten by a number of Super Bowls, but the most watched television episode to this day is still Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen, the finale to MASH. Apparently, it was watched so much by so many people concurrently that in New York, during the commercial breaks, so many people had waited to go to the bathroom and waited to the commercial break that when they all used the toilet all at once, the plumbing fucked up in New York. That's how many people were watching it all at once. It's nuts. But no, it's a very touching show. You can almost kind of go arc by arc with this show, which is weird, because the first 3 seasons are not the same as the last 3 seasons. Same setting, a lot of the same characters, not all the same characters, but it definitely changes over time. Goes from being a comedy drama to being a dramedy over time. But yeah, absolutely love the show, love the characters, and yeah.
Did I lose you again, or
No,
was
I'm
that...
here. That's
Oh.
it. Yeah. So yeah. Sorry. Watch it on Hulu if you haven't seen it before. I recommend starting with season 6.
All right. This is 2, I believe, because I think I started.
Yes.
The Simpsons.
Oh.
And no, I count all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they are drastically different shows after a few seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But I still like both of them. I grew up watching it. My childhood was a lot of I sat at my mom's work.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the few things I had to watch was a specials DVD.
Mm-hmm.
Few picked episodes that matched the theme.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah.
But as of right now, I have watched The Simpsons all the way through, I think, 3 times.
Wow.
One was when I first decided to sit down and watch it and not just cherry pick episodes. Then to recap when they were before the movie, and now to recap to get season 35 or some shit.
Yeah, because the debut episode of The Simpsons was in 1989. So that is a lot. That is a lot.
Again, it's going to be, I think, for not as many people, but it's definitely going to be one of those moments in TV history when it finally ends.
Oh yeah, I can easily see the finale of The Simpsons getting as much, if not more, viewership than the finale of MASH, because holy shit, that The Simpsons is an institution.
Mm,
Ugh.
but yeah, I would recommend watching it. If you're looking for the OG, it's 1 through 9. Like that's the seasons you go through.
Yeah. All right. We're nearing the end here. My number 2 pick is. Let me make sure I remember to write. Yes, my number 2 pick is Doctor Who, which is weird because when I was compiling the list, I honestly didn't consider it that much because we talked about going arc by arc. Doctor Who, you got to go doctor by doctor, and because the shows are completely fucking different. You
Yeah.
can separate it by classic and modern because there was a break in TV for Doctor Who from 1989 to 2005 that had a movie squeezed in there, but it is still canonically the same show. And of course, there's all the fucking audio dramas. There's the comics, the books, but just the show. We're just talking about the show. 1963. The debut episode of Doctor Who aired in 1963, and there have to date been 14 different doctors, but one of them is just called the War Doctor, so we're on Doctor number 13. It's weird. Lately, there has been some hints that there's even more different versions of the Doctor. There's a lot of weird stuff happening with the character, but just for the show, there have been 14 different actors to play the character of the Doctor, 13 of which have gotten seasons or a movie dedicated just to that Doctor. And they are completely different. Completely different from each other.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Like, you introduced me to Doctor Who. Not gonna lie.
Wow.
About that. Because I know a lot of people get weird with classic television.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I was totally watching before it was cool.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. I can't watch the old Doctor. I try. It is not the ones I like. It's just not my style.
Oh, yeah, it can be rough.
But I get what you mean. Like, yeah, it's pretty episode. That's actually a question for you. Is how do you feel about the last two? Because from what I've understood, peeking into the fandom, the last two Doctors have had a consensus of you either like them or you hope they die.
I disagree with that personally. I think the last two Doctors were played by Peter Capaldi and Jodie Whittaker. Peter Capaldi is tied for my favorite Doctor of all time. Absolutely love him. Jodie Whittaker has it tough because of a couple of reasons. First, she's the first woman to ever play the role of the Doctor, which it sounds like it shouldn't be a big deal, but some people genuinely have said
it's a show running from the 60s to now. There's people who are way set in.
Yeah. There is... Yeah, exactly. Very set in their ways that a woman can't play the Doctor properly. Another thing that made Jodie Whittaker's start as the Doctor tough is that there's a new showrunner, which in British television is essentially the director and also occasionally writer and basically the person in charge of the whole fucking thing. Modern Doctor Who, starting in 2005, has had 3 different creative directors. One was from 2005 to 2009. the second one was 2010 through 2018. So people are kind of really attached to that second one because they've been around for a long time. But the third one,
And a lot of their favorite doctors are between that one too.
oh yeah, because during that time period is when Doctor Who really came back and really reached an international audience. So now they've got a new creative director at the helm. They have a different composer. Music does matter in TV. They've got a new writer. They've got a new doctor. They've got a new creative director. And
It was a lot of uphill.
yeah, a lot of different stuff. And it's weird because the presentation is completely different, but very much updated. I think that the new intro looks phenomenal. And I think some of the CGI in this last Doctor has been some of the best, but I can't say the same for the writing. And it's tough because Doctor Who has a long line of being good if you look past some stuff to being, oh god, I can't ignore it, this is bad. Like
Yeah.
you don't run from 1963 and have
Without
consistently
having some cringe years.
oh yeah, it's bad at times. And yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, again, looking in, those seem to be those things you talked about seem to be the three things I've heard people chittering about. It's either they don't like Jodie Whittaker, they don't like how she's written, or they don't like how the show is written, or a combination of all three.
Yeah. And it sucks because there are legitimate criticisms to be levied at the new Doctor. Totally legitimate, whether you agree with them or not. But there is an unfortunate trend of a lot of people, not a lot, but certainly in the beginning, a lot of people who would hear criticism about the latest Doctor and just label whoever's laying that criticism down as sexist. Because
man babies, as
yeah.
fucking who was it? It was the person running Marvel to call them that.
Yeah.
Then their movies bombed, and who would have guessed?
Well, I mean, Captain Marvel didn't bomb, but
No, not Captain Marvel. Just Marvel movies in general. Like two of them bombed.
Oh yeah, two
bombed as in they didn't get the ones they wanted, but it was directly after that comment.
I don't know that. Yeah, there have been some less successful Marvel movies than some of the other ones, but like, I think Marvel.
Thing, you have to quotation bomb for Disney movies.
Yeah, because
it's bombed as in they did not make the money they were expecting to make.
Yeah, but yeah, there are people who have had legitimate criticisms about the latest Doctor that are labeled wrongly as sexist, and then there have been people who have been trying to claim that their sexism is legitimate criticism, and then they're claiming that they're being wrongfully criticized. So there are bad actors on both sides here, but in terms of quantity of both, I would say that just from what I've experienced, and I watch a lot of content concerning Doctor Who. I have learned a lot about it. I've watched something from every Doctor. I haven't seen every episode, but I am very much in tune with some of the community as a whole. Largely, the biggest consensus is the biggest portion of the Doctor Who fan base hates both of those fuckers. The people who are like, no, Jodie's the best, and if you hate her, you're a sexist. And they also hate people who are like, oh, you should explain why the Doctor has a vagina now, because otherwise you're just being wrong to the character. Like, and she's too emotional now. She's too liberal. Literally, every Doctor has had a liberal bias since the beginning, and I will say that blatantly, whether you think that's good or not. Doctor Who isn't woke now. Doctor Who in the 60s was fighting against climate change. No one gave a shit in the 60s about climate change. Like before the hippies did it. Doctor Who was preaching about climate change. So Doctor Who isn't woke now, right? But yeah, so the biggest portion of the Doctor Who fan base are people who have legitimate criticisms and legitimate praise. And they're both the biggest portion, I would say 90%, legitimately 90% of the fan base is just tired of hearing the other 10% bitching about either you can't criticize her or you can't make a female doctor good, because those are the loudest camps and they're the ones that get the most attention, and it makes everyone look bad. wouldn't that just be the way? Oh, strange fucking phenomenon there. Extremists get the most attention, but don't at all represent the majority of a community. Who would have fucking thought?
To agree too, because like even thinking about the modern, a lot of you're correct. It's very, but to also wrap it into one of the concerns you said, I think it's a lot has to do with writing style. There's having a message and being preachy.
Yes. Yeah.
Two very different things.
Oh, yeah. And Doctor Who has teetered that line literally since the beginning. The Daleks, introduced in episode 2 of the show, the second ever episode, were a blatant allegory to the Nazis. Blatant. They're based on the Nazis. Like, confirmed by the creator of the characters. They have had a message since that beginning. But the introduction of the Daleks, that was just a message. Later on, there have been Dalek episodes where they're just like, fascism's bad, and it's like, yeah, I know, but what's the story here? Fascism's bad. Like, oh my god,
we've been here for 40 years. We know.
Yeah. Tell us something new. Jesus Christ. So yeah, there are definitely some times where Doctor Who has tipped over the line of having a message versus being preachy, but it sure as shit is not new to this Doctor or this showrunner.
Oh.
My biggest criticism of this showrunner is focusing too much on the lore of the character of the Doctor more so than the story surrounding them. Because some of the latest decisions about the Doctor's character have been questionable at best in terms of their motivation, but that's a story for a different time. Let's get on to our number 1 picks.
All right. Last pick, and it's one I recommended to you when you were here. So, it is Code Geass.
Yes, it has been on my Netflix watch list since literally that day. I got on my phone and added it to my watch list.
For those of you who have not experienced this show, I say that because I watch it at least once a year.
Nice.
That it's just something I do. I don't know why. I've done it since.
You ain't gotta justify
it. It's really well written, at least to me. I think so. Again, I like to preface things. I like the idea of the alternate timelines, and I like the mastermind kind of like anti-hero. Oh, and this just pulls in so much, and it's its own thing, which I was really hurting for, and I still am. God damn it. But it's a fun show. None of the characters are really hard to hate, which is one of the reasons I like it. Like, everyone has actual motivations that you somewhat understand, even if they're kind of childish. But that's kind of some of the points it's showing, is that sometimes people in charge are really childish.
Oh, yeah.
And it's 50 episodes with 2 seasons. So it's not terribly long for an anime.
Yeah.
But I think there's a 3rd season that came out, but it has nothing to do with the main show.
Huh. It's weird.
It's one of those, like, this also takes place in the
Oh, okay.
same world,
Hmm.
doesn't really interact with any of the people.
Okay. It's like the Walking Dead video game.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just so many, like, heartbreaking moments that you have to watch the main character rationalize or try to use to his advantage, that it's just hard to quantify.
Nice. I really do look forward to watching this show because it sounds fucking straight up my alley and stuff that I would enjoy watching. And when I watch it, I will definitely let you know.
Thank you.
And on that same note, my number one favorite show of all time is also an anime, but mine's a little more basic bitch than yours. My number one favorite show of all time, as of right now, is My Hero Academia. I'm currently in a weird position with the show because I'm at a very hard to get through portion. Not because it's bad, but because the main character is embarrassing themselves really badly, and God, I am. It's hard for me to sit through cringe. And it's not like it's cringe.
Like, you want to look away.
Yeah, like, because and with a show with subtitles, you can't look away.
Yeah.
But I want to know what's going on. Oh, Christ. But no, apart from that, this show has so much. It has whimsy, but it also has so much heart and emotion and great storytelling, and the characters are great. And similarly to Hunter x Hunter, you don't even bother looking it up online because holy hell. Like, I remember there was a story about how the creator of the show is considered canceling it in the past because people have been harassing them, like, make character X character canon or I'm gonna kill myself. Like, Jesus Christ. So yeah, that is some toxic fucking behavior, and again, nowhere near representative of the whole entire fan base, but it is bad. But no, the show itself, fucking amazing. I absolutely love it. It is so heartfelt, and it makes you feel warm when the characters have a triumph and you really care about them, and then when really bad stuff happens, it keeps you at the edge of your seat, and it earns, in my opinion, it earns every tear, every laugh, every gasp, everything. It earns it. And at times it seems a little too self-indulgent at times, but it kind of goes along with the theme of it because it's a show about superheroes. It's a show about people triumphing and doing their best. And, you know, sometimes, hell, one of the characters that most people fucking hate, I still have an argument for why I think that they have a legitimate reason to be included in the show. And that's how much I love it. Like, I care about every character, not just the ones at the front of the poster. I care about all the characters in the poster. I fucking love it. I fucking love it. And it's on Hulu. Yeah, I think it's on Hulu.
It, like most of these shows, you can sail to deep waters as well if you don't have money. No, I totally understand. I was a Naruto fan when it was still airing.
Oh yeah.
And it was along the same lines of bad for the fandom. Except we didn't have Twitter, so you had to, like, send an email to.
Yeah, forums and shit. Like,
Yeah. I'm sure if there was, Naruto would have been just as bad.
Oh,
but
yeah. The Wayback Machine is not a friend of the Naruto fan.
no. It's just something that's going to happen with really big shows. And if you want, like, getting into a fandom is different than getting into the community.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Sorry, someone is trying to contact me.
Damn people. Well, we can wrap it up if you need to go talk to them, because we are at the end now. So yeah, I'll go ahead and we're good to wrap it up.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening to us talk about our favorite TV shows of all time. Let us know in the comments down below what some of your favorite TV shows are. If you want to go as far as to make a full top 10 ranked list, go ahead. I read all the comments. I'd be more than interested to talk about them. If you have any questions for us, let us know. I have talked about some of my favorite movies and games on this show in the past. Not this show, but on this channel in the past. If you are interested in things like this, feel free to check those videos out. As we said at the beginning of this episode, if you have the ability to vote, please do. On the next episode, it'll be the Fallout episode. So look forward to that. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for watching this episode of All of the Above. And until next time, I'm Vivian.
And I'm Caleb.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.